welcome to We Don't Fix the Show. Musical Theater Guild looks at how to succeed. We are so grateful here at MTG to be returning to live performances at the gorgeous Alex Theater in Glendale for our latest season, which I believe it's our 25th anniversary season, right, Glenn?
Yes, it's the 26th year, but since you know what happened, so it's the 25th season of performing.
Incredible.
Yes.
It's beginning Sunday, May 1st, and we're beginning with the Pulitzer Prize-winning musical from 1961, How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying.
And we've got things to talk about.
We have things to talk about because Musical Theater Guild, and it's one of the reasons I love it so much, it operates like a historical society, right? We can't hang musicals in a museum. So for one night only, we produce staged readings of lesser seen musicals filled with wildly talented members of the Guild as well as guest artists, and in doing so, provide our community and future generations with a greater understanding of our musical theater heritage. But when we're presenting shows of yesteryear, warts and all, that understanding also requires context. And that's why we're here today. Yeah, we're here to reiterate that it's not our job to fix the shows, but it is our responsibility to have a discussion about the consequences of producing them. How about that, you guys?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm very impressed.
I am too. Can you just talk for 30 minutes?
Never. But let's meet everybody here that's gathered to have this roundtable for this discussion. First of all, my name is Jeffrey Scott Parsons. I've been a member of Musical Theater Guild for, since 2015? Yeah, 2015, I think. Joining me is another MTG member, Glenn Rosenblum. Hi,
That's
Glenn.
Me, and I think I came in right after you to Musical Theater Guild, performer. Yes. And I have been busy lecturing during the pandemic on Zoom about musical theater, and it is my passion. And
so you're right at home here.
I am right at home, and I have a lot to say. And of good things, I would like to introduce the fabulous Karen Morrow, who, yes, if there was a bow emoji, we would do it right now.
Yes.
And Karen, as well as I know you and as obsessed as I am about you, I did not realize that in 1964, I Had a Ball was your Broadway debut.
What did you think it was?
I knew that you did stuff in New York before that. But maybe it was at City Center and things like that, which was before 1964.
You know, I don't remember. I don't remember. Oh, sure, I did off Broadway. Oh, geez.
Yeah, you did Sing Muse and Boys from Syracuse. So I didn't know who knew. But anyway, the fabulous Karen Morrow. I Had a Ball 1964. Anyone here, YouTube that thing, and you will be up until 5 a.m. speeding from the fabulousness of it. You played Princess Puffer in The Mystery of Edwin Drood.
Yeah, that was my last Broadway show. Yeah,
that's not right. It's the last Broadway show should have been like 3 years ago or something. I don't accept it.
Well, that was 35 years of my life.
Oh my gosh. And you've toured in oh my God, Call Me Madam, Hello Dolly, Follies, and you played Parthy in that wonderful Hal Prince production of Showboat. And also
the National Company.
Oh, fabulous. An Emmy Award winner for her fabulous show with Nancy Dussault, which I remember seeing in my New York apartment on cable.
Know this.
I didn't either.
Kind of like a master class, just saying.
For sure.
And now you teach master classes, which are not even to be believed. Your wisdom, you've been around the block, baby.
I know it.
You know what works and you know what doesn't.
Well, I don't know.
You do.
I do know a lot. I know a lot.
She's her own worst critic. I'm just going to say that. And we welcome Karen Morrow.
Yes, Karen Morrow.
Thank you. I'm so happy. You gave me an excuse to get up, take a shower, and wash my hair. and put some makeup on, which William Squire kind of coached me on over the weekend. So
Stunning.
I shaved for you,
I
Karen.
know it. And you look wonderful. By the way, whatever reception you have there, I mean, you look exquisite.
Oh,
Exquisite.
my
Yeah,
goodness.
Is this a hashtag no filter moment, Glenn? Because you look gorgeous.
No filter. No
Yeah,
filter.
wow.
No. No,
Look
I
at that
do.
baby
All right.
skin.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Okay.
Smoke and
enough,
mirrors.
enough of that. Now, we finally need to introduce our fourth participant here. Someone who, first and foremost, is an incredibly lovely human being. I always like that to be like the first compliment that I give you, Becky. She's also an actress and maybe the unofficial queen of fundraising for musical theater in Los Angeles. I mean, she's worked both for Center Theater Group and is currently at the Pasadena Playhouse. Everybody, please welcome Becky Birdsong.
Oh, thank you so much, Jeffrey. You're too kind.
No,
Too
it's
kind.
true. It's true. You are such an amazing representative of everything that has to go on in the back to make everything happen in the front. And
you.
so I love to praise you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Nice to meet you,
Nice.
Karen and Glenn.
Yes, Becky. Yes, my
Thrilled.
God.
Thrilled that you're here. So, Jeffrey, where do we begin?
I was just going to ask you the same thing.
Well, I'm going to start because here's the thing. In the past month or two, everyone that I've been talking to at Musical Theater Guild, oh, there are my dogs. Whoops. Oh, my goodness. Sorry. Oh, my God. Excuse me.
It's okay. While Glenn's gone, I'll just give a quick rundown for those who may not know the show. Yeah, for those who may not know, How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying is a satirical look at reaching the American dream, right? By climbing the corporate ladder. So in the 60s, obviously, where this is a real potent and kind of interesting world to be mining. And so in the show, in one night of theater, J. Pierpont Finch goes from window washer to chairman of the board of the Worldwide Wicket Company, all thanks to the questionable advice he receives from a book entitled How to Succeed in Business.
Yes. And looking back on the show, it is said that the show was, or there are those who say that the show was politically incorrect, that it treated women disrespectfully, and it was
infamously, there's a song called
"A Secretary is Not a Toy."
Exactly.
So I would like to open this discussion because in my view of How to Succeed in Business, the satire had its tongue planted in that cheek. And I think there may be people who don't understand that aspect of the show, or maybe it's not presented. Am I remembering the show correctly? What do any of you think about? Is it satirical? Is it Black humor?
Or is it satirical enough? Right?
Great question.
I don't know. Becky, have you seen it? Did you see it in the?
I have seen a production. I saw the Broadway revival with Daniel Radcliffe and
most recent.
Yes, 2011. Oh no, I'm forgetting the tall guy's name.
John Larroquette?
Yes, John Larroquette. Thank you. Yeah.
Perfect casting.
Yes. Yeah, I do remember seeing that. For some reason, though, I blocked out that song. So that might be the answer to your question from me. I just completely blocked it out because it was so traumatic.
I saw the original. Because I was up for the original, because I mean, I was one of the thousands, although then there were thousands of women in my category, not like today. I mean, back then we had a chance of getting a show. And I remember it being wonderfully obvious that there were people like that. And there were stock characters. I mean, even Charles Nelson Riley was a stock Strange, the nephew and everything, but the girls who played Hetty, that was stock. The dumbbell, but with the great figure and all that stuff. And then there was Rosemary, who was stock. wait, can't, make dinner warm while he goes over, happy to keep it. And so I knew that was all a takeoff. However, that was the time, and I was the age. I was early 20s, and so I it's not that I believed that, but I experienced that kind of behavior.
Right, but do you think that the audience, or do you think that they really explored that they were poking fun at Mrs. Cleaver and Laura Petrie with that happy to
I
keep
don't
us?
know.
Okay,
I don't think so.
go ahead.
Oh, I don't think so. When you say most, I mean, they were the theater people who saw a lot of shows and stuff like that. But the average person who comes into New York to see the hit show, I don't think they thought about. I shouldn't say that because there's smart people all over the world, but I don't think that was. I don't think that's how they presented it. I don't think the company really presented it. They would come and watch us make fun of June Cleaver and all that stuff. It was entertainment, and they knew people like that, and they had seen those kind of women on TV, and that was de rigueur, I think. Anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, this is kind of my hot take on Frank Lesser. Is everybody ready?
I am.
Ready.
Okay, so I find that this happens a lot with his works, right? He is always playing with stereotypes for comedy's sake, certainly in Guys and Dolls, right?
Right.
These big cartoony type characters. And so you've got in that show, Marry the Man Today, right? In How to Succeed, I feel like it's more satirical. It's a little bit more biting. But even still, there is such warmth and earnestness to Lesser's music that I think sometimes that bite is ignored, or maybe even difficult, excuse me, to pick out in a way that maybe it's easier when you're watching Chicago, right? You watch Chicago and they're like, this is a show about murder, everything that we hold near and dear to our heart. And you're like, oh, I get it. Even then, I remember being in church and hearing a church leader say, I was just told that the movie that won Best Picture at the Oscars glorifies murder. I'm like, okay, you didn't get it. But right? So even with something that's like that hits you over the head with it, satire it requires a lot of investment from its audiences. And so then when you put on this like beautiful, earnest music that includes like, I believe in you, I think it gets maybe, I don't want to say watered down, but tempered even more.
Oh, I agree.
I mean, even Baby It's Cold Outside, right? Another Frank Lesser song can be incredibly problematic when you don't know that he wrote it for him and his wife to perform at parties to make people laugh, right? When you take it out of that context, and once again, it's just this like little ditty about possibly date rape. Then it starts to feel problematic.
No, I think you're right. Oh, I'm sorry, Becky. We would gloss right over you. What was when you saw it? Did you feel that the satire? Did you feel that people got it?
Well, since you blocked out Secretary is Not a Toy.
Yeah, I definitely blocked that, but it was, even though it was it was done in 2011 and it was modernized, it still kept those same stock characters. So my question would be to the production team of kind of like, why did you do that? Were you trying to send a message by keeping those stock characters in 2011?
Well,
these characters that were created in 1960, but you're not making any changes, you don't have to change the storyline, but you aren't making any changes to these stock characters. Is there a reason why you did that?
Well, that version, which I enjoyed, still took place in the 60s, though.
Yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm.
But they were presenting it now to a 2011 audience.
Mm-hmm. True.
Who's expecting something different than a 1961 audience?
Right.
For sure.
Yeah.
It's an interesting question, right? It's an interesting question, specifically when we're looking at satire, is, okay, so if we are criticizing these types and norms that exist in our society, is presenting them, is the point of just putting them in front of an audience's eyes more detrimental than helpful in that critique?
Well, I would, and this is my opinion, when the controversy of Turner Classic Movies, keeping Gone with the Wind on, but having a session, there's a film session before when you go on demand, and someone comes on and says, look, this is of its time, and we get it. We know what we're showing you here, but we want to show it to you.
Interesting.
And I think that that's important rather than just canceling things. I want the context. I want to be able to say, wow, is that how they taught me the Civil War in 7th grade? And let me tell you, they took my class to see Gone with the Wind in 7th grade, so we could learn about the Civil War and carpetbaggers. Is it? Yeah, Becky, you're shaking. Do you believe that? Hello, right? So Becky, like, how do you feel about Turner Classic showing it as a museum piece?
I think as long as they're being upfront about it, and this is why we're showing it to you, I think it's fine. I mean, I'm just listening to you all, and even seeing some shows recently, like the recent The King and I, with Ken Watanabe and Kelly O'Hara. And I know there were friends who just refused to see it because they thought it was racist and portrayed, Asians a certain way. And I totally, think they absolutely have the right to that opinion. But I was like, what? It's Rodgers and Hammerstein. Are you kidding me? Kind of like what Jeffrey was saying, like with Frank Lesser, these ditty tunes. And then you kind of go, oh, wait a minute. But when I saw that production, I was like, oh, now I get it. Now I get it. Now I get why they felt so offended and didn't want to see it, because I don't think it was presented in a way of like, this is a museum piece, or like, we're going to keep it in this time, or, whatever. And it was just, thrown out into, I'm not thrown out into the world. I'm over exaggerating, but, just presented. And so people this day and age, when there's this awakening, this AAPI awakening, and this social, injustice and all of that, could be very taken aback by that.
Yeah, and it's hard to force audiences to read program notes. And I know Lincoln Center gives you, there's a free publication in the lobby that they will give you with a history, and it's problematic though, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't think there's a solution.
Yeah.
There isn't a solution. If you're going to preserve history, whether it be Shakespeare or anything else, you just can't. I mean,
but Becky, what I hear, I'm glad that you got to see it and form your
opinion.
Smart, educated opinion about it and say, oh, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
Which one are we talking about now? Are we still talking about How to Succeed, or are we on to?
Yeah, no, but we're talking about How to Succeed because it's the same thing. If an audience comes in and maybe doesn't really understand that this was satirical, they'll think, why are they showing this to us where women just want to get married and have
Keep their
dinner waiting for him in New Rochelle?
It's the costumes. It depends on how they.
It's the lighting and the costumes, everybody. That's the solution.
They have to wear the 50s or the 60s dresses. The guys have to have the. I mean, it really. I think that's why it was so colorful, so bright. At least the original was just so bright colors. And of course, Bobby. Hello, Bobby. Hello. Thank you, Morse. Was a caricature, almost a caricature in himself. Everybody was kind of a caricature. Hetty was a caricature. Rudy Valley was a caricature. And I think by that time, I think Sid Caesar paved the way for caricatures, with your show of shows. I mean, I'm old enough that I was there when it first started showing, and I got it. I was, I don't know, a 7-year-old or an 8-year-old in Des Moines, Iowa, and I suddenly realized I could understand satire. But I think, I mean, he paved the way for things like that. But again, I said Frank Lesser to me is one of the geniuses of music theater, and he writes such good music. I think that the show, if it's entertaining, really entertaining, physically and artistically, I think people will see it exactly for what it is, a satire or something that's kind of poking fun. Then there are those people who don't have a clue.
Yeah.
Well, what's
And
interesting?
the solution is not to not do it.
Absolutely.
That makes me so sad to think that it's like, that's problematic. We can't do that show anymore.
Carousel.
No, Carousel, hello. No, it's true. And I think that it honestly makes me feel very grateful for organizations like MTG, shameless plug, because because it comes down to intention, right? If you are creating a huge Broadway commercial run of how to succeed in business without really trying, you have a lot to answer to as to why you're bringing to this show to this audience at this time and expecting to make a profit. If we're doing it at MTG, it's under essentially the radar of education. We want to understand our history, and also the stakes aren't nearly as high because it's a staged reading. So I do think that this type of format might be incredibly helpful going forward, helping audiences stay acquainted with these shows, but not necessarily expecting theater companies or large producing entities to like make money off of them. Becky, I know that you've worked with regional theaters and are probably very much aware of the process of what goes into choosing a season. Mm-hmm. I mean, especially like you said, right now when in this sort of awakening that we're finding ourselves in culturally. Can you speak to that and what goes into those kinds of decisions?
Yes, I mean, in broad strokes.
Sure, of course.
Definitely. But we definitely have to take into consideration, our base, our subscriber and donor base, and, look at, their age ranges and what shows have been successful in the past and what have not. And then also look at our mission and what it is we want to put forth into the community and into the world, and just kind of balance all of that out, which is very, very tricky. But I will say that currently where I am, the Pasadena Playhouse, our producing artistic director, Danny Feldman, is very conscious of these issues that we're talking about today. So when he wants to, and a big part of his vision here at the Playhouse is to put on these classics, but then maybe give them a little modern tweak. So for example, we did Little Shop of Horrors in 2019. MJ Rodriguez played Audrey. MJ Rodriguez is a big, transgender actress that just won an Emmy for her work on Pose, So, and the LGBTQ plus community were so grateful and came out and supported it. And we got so many good comments and text and letters about thank you for seeing our community, thank you for representing our community. And so, but then you also have the subscribers who absolutely loved it, probably didn't even know or may have known that she was a transgender actress, but loved coming to the theater and seeing people of all different ages, shapes, and sizes. There was a subscriber sitting next to a man wearing a leather jacket with silver, with spikes. And, they loved it. They absolutely loved it. So you have to kind of balance everything, but then you take that risk, and then you just kind of have to see what happens. And luckily, knock on wood, we've had very good results, but it's something that you do have to take into consideration when you want to remount these classic, musical theater pieces from a certain time. You have to be ready for whatever comes at you.
Yes. Thank you for sharing that.
Small theaters or the small theater companies have to really know their audience. Mm-hmm. They have to know the demographics. They have to know, because I can imagine somebody coming to see the show with that wonderful actress and not knowing. Well, of course, you said it wasn't obvious. I mean, she's not obviously a transgender, but in finding that out, I'm sure that some of them might have been a little, had taken umbrage about that later in the game.
Hmm.
Did they ever get any bad letters?
I've never heard of anything, no.
That's great. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
I think we're all learning and figuring out how to proceed in,
No question.
in
Well, and-
presenting these shows.
And knowing how tricky the balance is, I think when you're kind of in the middle of of the hive, right? Seeing all of the work that it takes to figure out the delicate balance, it inspires in me grace to give people the opportunity to learn, right? It's not about being right, it's about getting it right. And what is important to me is seeing, producing entities learn and grow and change and evolve, and I think everybody needs space to do that.
Getting back to the satire and
Yes,
and
please.
how to succeed. And Becky saw a company many years later, and I think that the director has to be so on it, on the fact that is satire, and he has to clip it, nip it in the bud of somebody. And then the actors, they have to choose actors that are going to go with it and not, I'm sure there's some terrible productions of that out there with, groups and schools and stuff like that. But that is so important. And the producers too have to really understand, not just look at the bottom line, but have to understand what it is they're doing and make sure that it's done in the satirical way. And so that it's obviously satirical. I
Yeah.
think they have to go for the obvious. And with those, I mean, funny thing happened on the way to the forum. I mean, come on, you have to be obvious as heck before so that we can accept all that. Oh, there's a whole bunch of those shows. But anyway.
No, absolutely. I'm not a
no
huge
censorship.
Fan.
I don't want censorship.
Well, and I'm not a huge fan of like high school productions of Chicago, right? For the exact same reason. Because it's a tone that requires a little bit of more living than you get when you're 16. And
you're so judicious.
Well, I'm trying. but also this, I love what you said, Karen, that with How to Succeed, there is a tone that we're hitting, and the audience will tell us if it's working or not. What I wonder is if sometimes if an audience likes a show, period, right, then we think we were successful. But if an audience leaves not knowing that it was a satire, is it successful? I don't know.
Well, how long did How to Succeed run on Broadway?
Years,
a while.
years and years and years.
Back. So, I mean, obviously somebody got it.
And the revivals have been very successful.
Absolutely. Well received.
Very well received. Well, I think that it's a great opportunity that people will be able to come on Sunday, May 1st.
May 1st.
7 p.m.
It's a
Don't
great
you
show.
laugh at my obvious promotion, Karen.
I
Morrow.
love that tie-in.
It's a great show. It's a great show. And the music, I cannot say enough about Frank Lesser.
Oh, gosh.
The one brief moment he decided to be my manager. I went, okay. And he just thought that would be great fun to be a manager.
How did we not lead with this in the conversation?
No. Because he loved belters. And when I did Happy Felt for him.
Yes.
And
in the Susan Johnson role.
Oh my gosh, Karen Morrow.
And he had me sing higher and higher and higher. He just loved people who sang high. So of course I sang high. I sang the only way I knew how to sing, but he thought that was just swell. And so he managed me, his firm, Frank International, whatever it was. Well, they set me up on the most stupid things, but because it was Frank Lesser people, a role that Cheetah Rivera did. That was it was, oh God, who was the Mexican warrior, whatever he was back.
Pancho Villa?
Pancho Villa.
Pancho Villa?
Pancho Villa, yeah, they did a musial.
With Robert Preston was in that, I think.
And that's aged well, I guarantee.
Do you want me to wear a black wig? But anyway, so that's where that went. But I have so much respect for him, and he goes deep. He goes deep into what he has to say. It isn't just that. I mean,
I think that's why it won the Pulitzer.
Absolutely.
Right.
Just saying.
Forgot. See,
Just saying.
Well,
Yeah.
good. I'm glad you said that. I'll
No,
have
it's
to remember that.
it's so true. It's so true. And
They don't
so,
hand those out willy-nilly.
well, and to create something that smart and that melodic, right? At the same time, that's a true gift, and one that Lesser did beautifully.
Mhm.
Are you going to, when you said it's a reading, because I've been to see several of your shows and they're fun. And some of them I go, I guess that's why it didn't go.
Yeah, that's the fun of it.
That's the fun.
Absolutely.
I can say that because I've had 4 flops on Broadway. But
Flop is not a bad word.
no, sometimes you're doing a reading. Are you doing staging and everything like that?
Minimal, minimal
So
staging.
there's staging. It's always a beautiful, elegant night of theater that's
Yes.
also incredibly imaginative, because while they are holding scripts, you kind of forget about it after the first 5 minutes.
This
when
is
I
one
saw-
of. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, when I saw the benefit the other night, there was a Stephen Sondheim birthday benefit. People carried scripts. It was just remarkable. That's one of the most
Aw.
remarkable things I've seen you do,
Oh my
or
God.
anybody do. The
That's beautiful.
quality of the directing and the writing, Dwayne Poole. I mean, it was just wonderful. You guys, and again, here I go. I told you, don't ask me to talk. I was there at the very beginning of MTG because it was in. Two fellows had it in their living room. They just got together, some Broadway people, and said, let's do some shows in the living room. We'll just sing the shows. So I went to the first one, with Susie Watson and people like that who had been on Broadway. And we listened, this is great. This is great. The next thing I know, it's MTG.
We got logos. Exactly.
No, but that's wonderful. You've done something right. You've done something so correct that people really keep coming and coming, and performers want to perform with you. They do.
That's awesome. It's a really fun playground to get
Yes.
dirty in, for sure.
Yes.
Well, thank you, everybody.
What a great
That was
discussion.
short and sweet. I could sit and talk forever. I would order in some food and we could sit forever in the
I know. I
real
want
world.
to hear more of what Becky has to say about her job and about what she has learned through. You may have to get her back again.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Deal.
I'm telling
Promoting
you,
Becky.
Becky's always the best
Becky,
guest.
you work at the oldest theater in California, right?
Yes,
Not just
100
Southern
years
California.
old. Mhm.
It's amazing.
God bless the Pasadena Playhouse.
Thank
Oh,
you.
wonderful, wonderful place.
Wonderful
Wonderful
place.
place.
Thank you, Becky Birdsong. Thank you, Karen Morrow.
And you.
Thank you,
for doing-
Jeffrey.
Thank you to everybody. Thank you all
Everybody.
for watching, and we hope to see you at the theater on Sunday, May 1st.
7 p.m. at the Alex Theater.
Yes, 7. That's important. 7 p.m.
7 o'clock. Thank you.
Bye. Bye. Thank you. Bye.